Hello and welcome to the Wild Protea. My name is Clinton Jarman. As usual on a Friday I bring you all the latest news updates with regards to South African sport. Obviously main focus at the moment has been on the rugby and how well that's been going or not that well or whatever. So don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our online magazine, and don't forget to comment as well. So straight into it then, I'm going to start off with just some Proteas news. The Proteas had a good fight back on day 3 of their test match. The boys did well. Dean Algo scoring 160, Quinny de Kock also helping him out there with 111. The captain Faf, leading by example, came in, played really well, played really positively. That was a nice thing to see after, we sort of took a hammering for the first couple of days, and then the boys came back nicely. Faf came out this morning with some real positive intent. You could see it from the start of his innings. Algo actually started off with his innings the day before. He was really positive in anything in his area. He really put away, and it was good to see. The guy's not just waiting for one that has their name on it. When the guy started at 34, I think it was 34 or 39 for 3 as they started the day, lost Bavuma quite early. Unlucky for him, one just crept and kept low. But then the boys were really positive after that, and we managed to end the day at 385 for 8 with Matusami, the debutant, and Keshav Maharaj at the crease. So, if they can add another 50-60 runs, hopefully, then we sort of, I think, 40-50 runs behind India, and that's not a bad position, considering the fact that we were 39 for 3. Obviously, the first couple of days didn't go according to plan. The boys looked a bit rusty. I must admit, Dane Pitt didn't really set the world alight. I mean, I've been calling him to be in the test setup for quite a while now, and he was quite disappointing, and it wasn't great to see from him, but all the boys looked a bit rusty. Obviously some of the guys went over with an SAA tour, thinking that might help, but when you don't really play in that test environment against test players, you're gonna look rusty when you first come back. So I wouldn't read too much into that first day. I think the boys can come back. They've showed a lot of character now, and Faf and the boys to get themselves into sort of a decent position where India now have to bat well to win this game, and then put us under pressure. So all the best to Faf and the boys, and hopefully by some miracle they can pull out a win there in India, which would be amazing. So good luck to the lads, and I'll bring you the full review of that game next week after all the 5 days have been completed. And then just into the women's stuff, the women's Protea stuff. The Protea women lost the other day by 5 wickets to India. Unfortunately, not playing really well in this one. We have done alright against the Indians, but this time, India batted first, they made 140, and we were skilled out for, I think it was 89. So, not really putting up much of an effort, much of a fight there, the Protea women, which is not great, because, the series has been quite competitive, but with a couple games being rained out as well, unfortunately for the girls. But, like I said, the series has been competitive. So to get a thrashing like that will be disappointing. However, there is some positive news. After 13 overs, our girls in today's game, after 13 overs, our girls are 124 without loss, with Lizelle Lee leading the way on 71, and Sune Luis on 51. So that was after 13 overs. So looking good today. Going very well there without losing a wicket. So hopefully they can pull a win out the bag before they get down to the one-day stuff that's still to come. And as usual, we'll bring it all to you on the Wild Protea. We'll have a review. As I said, in an earlier podcast, I am not up to date with the ladies, or as much as I would like to be. But give me time. I'll learn all the names and which players to look out for and that sort of thing. So yeah, so look out for more women's stuff coming your way, guys. Then now onto the forgotten man. So you might be wondering who the forgotten man is. In this case, it's Percy Tau. Percy Tau, a little bit of the forgotten man because a couple of seasons ago he signed for Brighton, and it made news headlines everywhere. We were proud of our boy for making that next step in his career, signing for an English Premier League side, thinking this could be a real stepping stone for him to bigger and better things. Unfortunately, it hasn't really worked out for Percy because of work permit issues. South Africa's ranking not being great has forced Percy to go and apply his trade elsewhere. So he's on loan. He was on loan to a second division Belgium side, and he did quite well. He was player of the season there last season, and he has subsequently been loaned out again. This time he's at Club Brugge, where he picked up an assist in a 2-2 draw the other day with Real Madrid. So if our boy is performing on that level, Champions League level and that sort of thing, it's only a matter of time before his work permit stuff gets sorted, and he'll be able to then hopefully go back to England and really do well for himself, and obviously fly the flag for South African football. We haven't had a South African footballer in the Premier League for quite some time, and it would be nice to see Percy, because I think Percy's one of the real talents to come out of South African football in the last sort of few years. For a long time, obviously it was sort of Stevie P and Quentin Fortune, Lucas Radebe, and the likes that got all the headlines because they all played in the English Premiership. But Percy is a lad that I can really see doing well in that Brighton side. I think he will add a bit of creativity and a bit of finishing up front is what they need as well. They did buy a striker this season, but Percy plays sort of in that role just between the striker, and he seems to get a lot of goals. I mean, I remember when he played for Sundowns, he scored a ton of goals for Sundowns, and that's why he got noticed. So yeah, we wish Percy all the best for this season, and hopefully next season we can see him in the Premier League again for the first time. And he can hopefully light it up in the Premier League and fly the flag high for South African football. I think he's a real talent and one to watch out for. Then just on to some Springbok news. Obviously the Boks played last week against Namibia. Now, I did promise that I was going to do a full review of that game. However, having reviewed the game sort of a couple times, I don't think there's much we can take out of that game, to be honest with you. The performance wasn't... It was one that you would have expected us to win and win comfortably, and we did. But the performance from some of the players wasn't great. I mean, Elton Jantjies didn't really make a bid to start in place of Pollard. A few other guys didn't really have the greatest of games, but there were a few standouts. Obviously, the scrum was expected to dominate, and it did. Bongi and Beast Tendai played really well and were rewarded by their starting berth against Italy, and I think that's going to be our best front row going forward now. I don't see, obviously, get the game against Canada, we might change it up a bit, but I think Bongi, Beast, and what's his name, Frans Malherbe, I think that's probably our best front row at the moment, given the fact that Trevor's gone now. So yeah, that the Namibia game, expected to win. Not much to take out of it. Maybe just a bit of a confidence boost. Boys getting on the score sheet for the first time and that. So I'm just going to leave that game in last week where it deserves to stay, and then move on to the game that I watched today. Clinical Bok performance. I don't want to hear guys now talking about Fuss kicking and Pollard's kicking and Willie LaRue's kicking, because look what happened today. we kicked today. Is anyone going to complain? I highly doubt it, because the kicks were all contestable, we put pressure on the opponent, and that is our game plan. Like, I hear guys, obviously, guys talk about this and that at cricket practice, or, around the pool table and stuff like that. And, I hear guys criticizing these players. And the thing that we have to understand is that Rassie's trying to implement a game plan that he believes he can win the World Cup with. And we need to, instead of criticizing them, we need to back them with everything we've got, because they need the backing now. This is not the time to criticize them. Similar thing that I said during the World Cup to sort of my family and my friends and stuff. Now is not the time to criticize and throw blame. You don't do that when the guys are there. Before they get there, yes. After they've failed, yes. But once they're at the tournament, now they need the backing. So just getting into a quick review of this game. Just some positives. Bongi's form continued. He was a live wire throughout the whole game. His line-out throwing was absolutely brilliant. Scrumming was... They had sort of all their props go off sort of in the first half, Italy. So, scrumming became uncontested, 20 minutes in. So it wasn't really a great day for that, which is, it's not the best, because, there's a certain continuity you get in the scrums when you scrum against an opposition. So we didn't get that time, sort of, as to use a cricketing terms, that time in the nets, as you'd say, to prepare against better sides. But I'll back our scrum. We've got a really good scrum. Then Cheslin Colby. Yes, Cheslin Colby was absolutely brilliant today again. Line breaks, and he was just everywhere on the field. He was the man of the match. He beat 4 defenders, had 3 clean line breaks, 100 meters gained, running meters gained, and 2 tries today. He could have wallowed a hat-trick there at the end, but he just didn't have the legs when he broke through there right at the end of the game. Cheslin, his form has been excellent. Even, just to refer back to the kicking for a second, Faf's kicking today was brilliant, because he put the kicks up in an area where he was basically saying to Cheslin, Mapimpi, or whoever, or Vili, whoever was going up for it, he was basically saying, go get it. And, a lot of times, even if we didn't come out down with the ball, there was pressure on the opponent, because there was 1 or 2 South African guys there ready waiting to tackle, and then there was a support pod coming through ready to try and steal the ball and put pressure on their ball. So that is the game plan we're trying to work on. So if we try and deviate now from that, how difficult is it going to be for the guys to learn a new game plan now? It's all about execution, and if we execute that game plan, we've seen what it can do to the All Blacks. We forced a draw against them away in Wellington, and to a large degree in that first game against the All Blacks, we didn't do too badly. I think besides the mistakes, we could have won that game. Other positives from the game: Siya Kolisi played a full 80 minutes, which means his knee injury is looking better and better, and he's a key for us. In that box squad, you can see the amount of work he gets through, the tackles, the carries. He just leads from the front, and you can see on the field as well, he's extremely vocal with the lads, telling them where to be and stuff like that. So clinical leader for us, and good to see him getting a full 80 minutes, and not just a full 80 minutes. He was going for that 80 minutes. He was really, giving it horns. Just looking here. Just one or two mistakes just to iron out of our game. We made a few mistakes in the first half, again in the second half, just a little bit of mistakes where Italy were could have possibly scored more points, but against better sides we will struggle not to concede points in those situations. So just a little bit of maybe negative. I don't want to say negative from the game because it was such a good game. But maybe a little bit of something to work on, going forward. Also, Handré Pollard's goal kicking again today. I just feel like he's losing concentration when it really matters. Because as a goal kicker, you got to concentrate on every kick, and I just feel like the concentration wasn't quite there for him today. He obviously knew it's not going to come back to bite him in this game, but in other games it might. I think he missed 2 or 3 kicks today, and that's potentially 6 points, and those 6 points could potentially win you the World Cup. So, on a different day against better opposition, you miss kicks like that, and it will cost you. So, hopefully, Handré will be better going forward and just concentrate just a little bit more so he can get his kicking game back to where it usually is. So the score today was 49-3, and I think the scoreline doesn't actually reflect the Bok dominance. The Springboks were absolutely dominant today, and I just don't think that scoreline, even though it's 49-3, that score, I was talking to my brother-in-law during the game, and I was telling him, I think the score was 20 points to 3 at that point, and I was telling him, this score should be out to 40-50 already if we'd taken our chances, and that's the little differences that's going to make a big difference when it comes time to quarterfinal, semi-final time. Taking those chances when it counts is really going to be the difference between who wins the World Cup and who doesn't. So that's one thing I would work on if I was in the Bok camp, just ironing out those little errors that are just costing us points, which would be at vital times if we were playing better opposition. I think that's everything I have. Let me just check here. Cheslin Kolbe said after the game that he would be fine injury-wise going forward. So we'll have to just monitor that one. We'll have to monitor that one and see how he's doing going forward. So guys, thanks for joining me. It's been great watching the rugby and catching up on all the sport. Again, like this video, subscribe on our online magazine. Also, like I said, please comment. If there's any other sports you'd like me to review and to cover for you guys, I'll gladly do it. I'd love to watch any South African athletes play sports. So get the comments in below, and thanks for joining me once again.